Hello, this is Brian. Today is Tuesday, May 23rd, 2023. I'm here at Mission Bay Park, not that far from the Mission Bay Club. And it's time for a Palms of San Diego episode. So today I want to talk about a species of palm that you occasionally find growing here. And it's these really cool ones here, these multi-trunked specimens. These are Senegal date palms. This is Phoenix reclinata. Phoenix reclinata is a smaller to medium sized palm, occasionally reaching over 20-30 feet tall. It's a member of, obviously, the palm family, the Arecaceae. And it's characterized by these beautiful, leafy, multi-trunked, thicket-forming plants. You see here, this is all from one root system. Now, a lot of palms in the genus Phoenix are known to sucker. In other words, send up shoots from their root bases. A lot of date palms are known to do that, and that's pretty common in the genus Phoenix, which is the dates. So what we have here is one that's very much a thicket-forming palm with many stems, and also the feather-shaped pinnate leaves. These are pinnately compound fronds, or pinnately compound leaves. And they're quite attractive to look at. I just like the clumping nature of this palm, which helps make it really cool to look at and really neat to admire. And you can see here, these look like they've been trimmed a little bit, but still persist. So a lot of times, these plants can send up roots and survive being cut, because once you cut down a solitary palm that has a solitary stem, it's just about done for, especially if you cut it down from near its base. See here, these stumps here are individual stems from this thicket that were cut down. See, unlike some species of actual trees, and a palm is not considered a true tree, it doesn't form true wood. In fact, this isn't wood, this is very finely bundled vascular tissue. It looks and feels like wood when you touch it, but it's not true wood. And a lot of these plants, they have this feature called an apical meristem, which is the bud point at the tip of the plant, from which it increases in height. So what happens is, palms, when the tip is cut off, or if it's cut down at its trunk, it will not send out any shoots. The trunk will essentially die. And if it's a single trunked palm, the palm itself is dead. That's the unfortunate thing. And if you break off that bud at the top of the palm, if it's a solitary palm that doesn't branch, and there are very, very few species of palms that can create branching structures. So I'm not going to talk about that, because this is not a branching palm, this is a clumping palm. So if you break off that apical meristem, it's dead. It's gone. It's not going to live. Once the older leaves die off of it, it's not going to grow anymore. It's going to fail, which is pretty sad. But again, with these clumping palms, a lot of times you break one off. If the root is relatively healthy and the plant's of good health in general, it'll send out more of these. So this one, you can break off that apical meristem and the individual stem will die, but voila, you get some more to come up in its place. So that's one feature that's pretty common in the genus Phoenix, the date palms. See, this one right here has one main stem left over, and if you really try hard, you probably could get a single stem specimen if you control the suckers. In other words, the root shoots. But that's going to be very laborious, because they're constantly sending up root shoots or suckers all the time. See here. So I think the reason why these palms are in cultivation is because they're an attractive clumping palm. Anyways, they look very attractive when they clump and they form these spreading out thickets. It can become very dense. So I do say that they do trim these occasionally so they're not extremely dense like an impenetrable thicket. So that's probably one way you can take care of this, is to weed out some of the suckers and allow several of the other stems to persist, so it doesn't become an impenetrable thicket in your garden if you decide to grow this palm. Well, this is a palm from Africa, Senegal, and it is a relative of the true date. Phoenix dactylifera is the cultivated date that's known throughout the world, especially grown in hot desert climates like near Palm Springs, the Middle East, Egypt, places where it gets very hot, because these are very heat tolerant palms. So, as with a lot of these palms, you get these big inflorescences in the palms. So they get these yellowish flowers, and then later on the fruits are these drupes, and these are related to the actual dates. If you look at them carefully, they look like true dates. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a couple profile pics and individual plant part pics, and then we'll finish off this video by wrapping up how beautiful these are. So, being that it's a palm, I would say this one might have some frost hardiness. Probably not much lower than 30 degrees, I'm kind of guessing. This one is a little bit more subtropical and tropical. The regular date palms, Phoenix dactylifera, are probably cold hardy down into the low 20s. Canary Island date palm, that's a very, very commonly cultivated date palm here in Southern California and in Mediterranean climates. Is generally a solitary trunk palm, or at least it's trimmed to be that way. And those are the ones that get those really long feather leaves. They're like these on steroids, and they're the ones that are very commonly grown here in Southern California. Those are all related to these, very closely related, in fact. They have much larger leaves and much taller stature than these here. Those ones commonly get up to 60, sometimes up to close to 80 feet tall occasionally. But here we are, these very humble Senegal date palms right here. Again, you can see there's all the fruit, the dates in there. Again, this is what the date looks like. On Phoenix reclinata, Senegal date palm. Now, as you notice, the leaflets are quite rigid and spiny. Quite rigid. It's kind of hard to get close to them. This one appears to be a different one here. This appears to be a different species of date palm. I'm not exactly sure if this is a pygmy date palm or a cliff date palm. This one appears to be maybe Phoenix roebelini, maybe? Or the cliff date palm, which the name escapes me at the moment. But you notice that the leaves are gentler. The leaflets are not as stiff and rigid. So this appears to be, this could be a pygmy date palm that's grown for many years. And like the Senegal date palm, it's a clumper. So this could be a cliff date palm, or this could be a pygmy date palm that ended up growing large. Usually you'll see pygmy date palms like 3, 4, 5, 6 feet tall, with really lush clumps of stems and very loose and gentle foliage. But again, you can see the foliage is gentler, lighter, and airy, more airy. Whereas here on the Senegal date palms, more rigid, not as feathery, not as loose, not as airy. So See the difference here. The leaf, the edge of the leaves kind of dangles down a little bit. The leaflets are kind of willowy, and these ones are much more rigid. So this one, again, Phoenix reclinata, and this one is probably a pygmy or a cliff date palm. I'm not 100% sure on this one. This one's definitely a different species, but it's very similar. Again, pygmy and cliff date palms, especially pygmy date palms, are a little lighter, airier, and they're not as rigid. But they produce similar flowers and fruits, which are little miniature dates, which are not really supposed to be eaten like your Phoenix dactylifera. A cliff date palm, I believe, is Phoenix rubicola, if I remember correctly. So that's probably either Phoenix roebeleni or Phoenix rubicola. So as we see here, beautiful Senegal date palms here in Mission Bay, San Diego. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed this video. Another insight into our awesome floral legacy that is San Diego. See you on the next episode.